Electrical metallic tubing, commonly referred to as EMT, is a raceway often used to protect electrical conductors. A critical aspect of using EMT is proper grounding, which ensures safety and provides a lower impedance path for fault currents. Grounding helps to minimize the risk of electrical shock and equipment damage in the event of a fault. The purpose of grounding electrical systems is to provide a safe path for fault current to return to the source. This path allows overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, to quickly trip and de-energize the circuit, preventing hazardous voltage from being present on conductive surfaces. Effective grounding is not only a safety measure but also a code requirement in most jurisdictions. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed guidelines on how to properly ground electrical systems, including EMT. Firstly, the NEC mandates that all metal enclosures and raceways, including EMT, be grounded. This requirement is outlined in NEC Section 250.4. Secondly, grounding ensures that any fault current will have a lower impedance path back to the source, facilitating the quick operation of overcurrent protection devices. The general requirements of grounding systems include bonding all metal parts of the electrical system to create an effective ground fault current path. This involves connecting all metal enclosures, raceways, and equipment to a common grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a combination of electrodes, such as metal underground water pipes, ground rings, ground rods, and concrete encased electrodes, often referred to as a U for ground. The NEC specifies the requirements for these electrodes in Section 250.52. To ground EMT effectively, several methods and components are used. The primary method involves using appropriate fittings listed for grounding purposes. These fittings ensure a secure and reliable connection between the EMT and the grounding system. One of the most common fittings is a grounding locknut. Grounding locknuts are installed on the end of the EMT where it enters an enclosure, such as a junction box or panel. These locknuts have a sharp tooth or raised ridge that bites into the metal of the enclosure, creating a secure electrical connection. Another commonly used fitting is a grounding bushing. Grounding bushings are similar to locknuts but provide an insulated throat to protect conductors from abrasion as they enter the enclosure. They also include a set screw that can be tightened to ensure a positive connection to the enclosure. In addition to fittings, grounding conductors are essential. A grounding conductor, often a green insulated wire, is connected to the grounding terminal within the enclosure and then bonded to the building's grounding electrode system. The size of the grounding conductor is determined by NEC Table 250.122 based on the size of the overcurrent protective device in the circuit. Bonding jumpers are also crucial. Bonding jumpers are short lengths of wire used to connect different metal parts of the electrical system together, ensuring they are all at the same potential. These jumpers are used to bond sections of EMT, metal enclosures, and other conductive components. The NEC requires bonding jumpers to be sized according to Table 250.102. Direct connection to the grounding electrode system is necessary. The grounding electrode system is the foundation of the entire grounding network. It provides a direct connection to the earth, ensuring that any fault current has a path to dissipate safely. As previously mentioned, the grounding electrode system can consist of various electrodes, including metal water pipes, ground rods, and concrete encased electrodes. The choice of electrode depends on site-specific conditions and NEC requirements. When installing EMT, it is important to follow certain best practices to ensure effective grounding. Firstly, always use listed fittings specifically designed for grounding. These fittings have been tested and approved to provide a reliable electrical connection. Secondly, clean the surfaces of the EMT and the enclosure before making connections. Remove any paint, rust, or other contaminants that could interfere with the electrical connection. Thirdly, tighten all fittings and connections securely. Loose connections can create resistance and impede the flow of fault current. Fourthly, protect grounding conductors from damage. Route grounding conductors in a way that protects them from physical damage and corrosion. Fifthly, Use antioxidant compounds on aluminum EMT connections to prevent corrosion and maintain a good electrical connection. Specific techniques for different scenarios are employed. In dry locations, standard grounding methods are generally sufficient. However, in wet or corrosive environments, additional precautions are necessary. Use stainless steel or coated EMT in fittings to resist corrosion. Apply corrosion-inhibiting compound to all connections. Ensure that grounding conductors are properly insulated and protected from moisture. When running EMT underground, it must be buried at the depth specified by the NEC, typically at least 18 inches. Use direct burial rated EMT in fittings. Backfill the trench with clean soil or sand to protect the EMT from damage. Also, when connecting EMT to equipment such as motors or transformers, ensure that the equipment is properly grounded. Connect the equipment grounding conductor to the grounding terminal in the equipment enclosure. Use flexible metal conduit or liquid-tight flexible metal conduit to provide a flexible connection between the EMT and the equipment while maintaining the ground path. Common mistakes to avoid include using non-listed fittings. Never use fittings that are not specifically listed for grounding purposes. These fittings may not provide a reliable electrical connection and could compromise the safety of the system. Another mistake is failing to tighten connections properly. Loose connections can create resistance and impede the flow of fault current. Always tighten all fittings and connections to the manufacturer's specifications. Also, ignoring corrosion protection is another mistake. In corrosive environments, failing to protect EMT and fittings from corrosion can lead to grounding failures. Use appropriate materials and apply corrosion-inhibiting compounds. Another mistake is undersizing grounding conductors. Always size grounding conductors according to NEC Table 250.122, based on the size of the overcurrent protective device in the circuit. Lastly, neglecting to bond all metal parts of the system is a mistake. Ensure that all metal enclosures, raceways, and equipment are properly bonded together to create a continuous ground path. The NEC provides extensive requirements for grounding electrical systems, including EMT. These requirements are found in Article 250 of the NEC, which covers grounding and bonding. Some of the key sections in Article 250 include Section 250.4, which outlines the general requirements for grounding. Section 250.52 specifies the requirements for grounding electrodes. Section 250.92 covers bonding of metal enclosures and raceways. Section 250.102 provides requirements for bonding jumpers. Section 250.118 lists acceptable grounding conductors, and Section 250.122 specifies the size of equipment grounding conductors. Furthermore, other relevant NEC articles include Article 300, which covers wiring methods and materials, and Article 314, which covers boxes, conduit bodies, and fittings. Keeping up to date with the latest edition of the NEC is important, as the code is revised every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. Changes in the NEC can impact grounding requirements for EMT. For example, revisions to the code may introduce new types of grounding electrodes or change the requirements for bonding metal enclosures. Staying informed about these changes ensures that electrical installations comply with the latest safety standards. Resources for staying informed include attending NEC training courses and seminars. These courses provide in-depth instruction on the NEC requirements and changes. Subscribing to electrical industry publications can provide updates on code changes and best practices. Consulting with qualified electrical inspectors can help ensure that electrical installations comply with the NEC. Proper grounding of EMT is essential for electrical safety and compliance with the NEC. By following the guidelines and best practices outlined in this explanation, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe and reliable. Always use listed fittings, clean and tighten connections, protect grounding conductors from damage, and bond all metal parts of the system together. Stay informed about changes to the NEC and consult with qualified professionals when necessary. This information provides a comprehensive understanding of how to ground EMT effectively, promoting safety and compliance in electrical installations. Firstly, understand the fundamental principles of grounding, including the importance of a low impedance path for fault currents. Secondly, know the NEC requirements for grounding EMT, including the use of listed fittings and proper grounding conductor sizing. Thirdly, follow best practices for installing EMT, such as cleaning connections and protecting grounding conductors. Fourthly, be aware of common mistakes to avoid, such as using non-listed fittings and neglecting corrosion protection. Fifthly, stay informed about changes to the NEC and consult with qualified professionals where necessary. Grounding systems are critical for electrical safety, protecting people and equipment from electrical shock and damage. The effectiveness of a grounding system depends on proper design, installation, and maintenance. By adhering to established standards and best practices, electrical professionals can ensure that grounding systems function as intended, minimizing the risk of electrical hazards. The grounding electrode system is a critical component of the overall grounding system. It provides a connection to the earth, allowing fault current to safely dissipate. The NEC specifies the types of electrodes that can be used, as well as the requirements for their installation. Common types of grounding electrodes include metal water pipes, ground rods, ground rings, and concrete encased electrodes. The selection of the appropriate electrode depends on site conditions and local regulations. Bonding is another essential aspect of grounding systems. Bonding involves connecting all metal parts of the electrical system together to create a continuous electrical path. This ensures that all metal surfaces are at the same potential, minimizing the risk of electric shock. The NEC provides detailed requirements for bonding, including the types of bonding conductors that can be used and the methods for making connections. Ground fault circuit interrupters, often referred to as GFCIs, are devices that protect people from electric shock by monitoring the current in a circuit and quickly interrupting the power if a ground fault is detected. GFCIs are required in many locations, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas, where the risk of electric shock is higher. Regular testing of GFCIs is essential to ensure they are functioning properly. Surge protection devices, often referred to as SPD, protect electrical equipment from voltage surges caused by lightning, utility switching, and other events. SPD divert surge current away from sensitive equipment, preventing damage. SPD are available in various types, including whole house surge protectors and plug-in surge protectors. Regular inspection and maintenance of grounding systems are essential to ensure their continued effectiveness. This includes checking connections for tightness and corrosion, testing grounding electrodes for resistance, and verifying the proper operation of GFCIs and SPD. Any deficiencies should be corrected promptly to maintain the integrity of the grounding system. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Everyone should be aware of the hazards of electricity and take precautions to protect themselves and others. This includes following safe work practices, using appropriate personal protective equipment, and reporting any electrical hazards to the appropriate authorities. Continuous education and training are essential for electrical professionals to stay up to date on the latest technologies, codes, and best practices. This helps to ensure that electrical work is performed safely and correctly. Grounding is a fundamental aspect of electrical safety. A well-designed and properly installed grounding system protects people and equipment from electrical hazards. By understanding the principles of grounding and following established standards, electrical professionals can contribute to a safer electrical environment. Firstly, grounding lockouts are a type of fitting used to ground EMT to metal enclosures. They feature teeth or serrations that bite into the metal of the enclosure, creating a secure electrical connection. Secondly, grounding bushings are similar to grounding lockouts but also include an insulated throat to protect conductors from abrasion. They often have a set screw for additional connection security. Thirdly, bonding jumpers are short lengths of wire used to connect different metal parts of the electrical system together, ensuring they are at the same electrical potential. Fourthly, equipment. Grounding conductors are wires used to connect the metal parts of equipment to the grounding system, providing a path for fault current to return to the source. Fifthly, ground rods are metal rods driven into the earth to provide a direct connection to ground. They are typically made of copper or copper-clad steel. Understanding the purpose and proper application of these components is essential for effective EMT grounding.